Good evening, everybody. Thank you all very much for joining us today. My name is Katja Wiemeyer from the Representation Office of Russian Chamber of Trade and Commerce in Germany, based in Berlin. And I'm moderating today's Meet and Pitch event, Get Connected to the Moscow Transport System. And before we get started, I would like to show you if you can see and hear me right now. Please, just in case, send a plus sign in the chat if everything is technically okay. I'm glad to welcome you at our online meeting, which is a part of the first international open call of the Moscow Transport Innovations Accelerator. The application round runs for 2 more weeks until the November 24th. Most of you have already applied, a very smart decision, by the way, and will present your solutions during our pitch session. So why are we here? Today, we would like to provide you first-hand details about this international pilot program and to show you how to scale up in the field of transportation and mobility in Moscow. And this possibility was created by the Transport Innovations Accelerator. There are 2 sessions on the agenda today. After a welcome word held by Holger Hartwig, representing the expert group of our Chamber's representation office, we will continue with our first session, including the introduction of the accelerator, Moscow Transportation Innovations ecosystem, and the success stories of Russian startups, which have already been chosen for pilot projects during the first 3 national application rounds. After getting so many insights, it should be the right moment for you to ask your questions to the presenters from the accelerator during our 10 minutes Q&A session. And then just raise your hand and address it by yourself, or send your questions to the chat and I would read them out. During the second part, you will learn about the best cases for urban mobility in Germany and Berlin, and also get an overview of Berlin's startup ecosystem. Afterwards, we proceed with our pitch session, where 8 international startups will present their mobility solutions. So now I have to check if our first speaker, Holger Hartwig, was able to come in. Just 1 second. I'm afraid he still has a technical problem with his laptop right now. Therefore, we have to go straight into our main topic of Moscow Transport Innovations and the accelerator and begin our first session. So, and I would like to introduce our first speaker, Andrei Popov, the investment director of Moscow Transport Innovations Accelerator. Andrei gained strong experience in cooperating with startups from Russia and abroad. And he will introduce you the Moscow Transport Innovations Accelerator. Please, Andrei, the floor is yours.
Yeah, that's cool. So, hi everyone. I am so excited to be here today and represent Moscow Transport Innovation team. My name is Andrei and I'm Chief Investment Officer at this brilliant team. So, let's talk about our Moscow Transport Innovation Hub. We are building Transport Innovation Hub with a lot of products such as Startup Accelerator, focusing on B2G cooperation, piloting program, internal acceleration for employees of Moscow Transport departments and the operations offices. What I can add. In parallel, we have launched a few activities, students like hackathons, ideathons, and startup studio based on Innovation Lab, one of the main university of Moscow. So Yeah. We have been working just since October 15 of 2020, and already we have 700 startups in our funnel. 90 pilot projects has been launched, 18 teams in our investment pipelines, and 75% startups and scale-ups have found already their inside customers at Moscow transport ecosystem. And what is our key value and secret sauce of success? The answer is easy. It's our talented team, of course. All of us have hugest experience in innovations and entrepreneurship. And only after these points, we are following our key mission, become an innovation bridge between government field and crazy and disrupt-oriented technology entrepreneurs. For now, we have made our initial steps at worldwide scene and already working with Singapore and United Arab Emirates innovation hubs. Today is a good time to kick off our hard working to succeed in our cooperation, guys. We are ready to provide you framework, fast track opportunities, and some GovTech black magic. And waiting from you desire to disrupt Moscow transport ecosystem. So welcome aboard. If you have any questions, just ask it in Q&A section. Yes, thank you. Andrew was here.
Thank you very much, Andrei, for this informative snapshot, which our next speaker, Andrei Fazliyev, will now complete with the details about the accelerator, key features on the transport infrastructure. And I'm glad to welcome Andrei from Teleport Lab, a mobility innovation agency and the project partner of the accelerator. Many of you have already got to know Andrei as contact person for scouting and scoring issues. So please, Andrei, continue.
Hi, everyone. Just give me a second. Can you see my deck now? Okay, great. I'm very happy to see all of you here. That's great that you decided to come to our Zoom event this evening. It's really awesome. I had a brilliant chance to talk with many of you personally before, and I'm very excited and waiting for listening your pitches. I believe it will be awesome. And now I want to just take a couple of minutes and tell you a bit more about Moscow transport innovations, about Moscow transport in general. First of all, we believe that right now Moscow is one of the best cities to pilot transport solutions. We are leading in enormous quantity of different startup ratings, transportation ratings, and I'm proud to operate the innovation projects in Moscow because it's very big city with almost every way of transportation you can imagine, starting from the boats, urban railways, and so on. It's really developed in terms of technical products and so on. Look at our structure overall. Moscow Transport is a very big organization with more than 100,000 people working here every day. And it has different units inside, such as Moscow Metro, responsible for the underground transportation, Moscow Trans, responsible for all the land transportation, MTCC, which stands for the Moscow Transport Control Center, which operates a huge amount of different data from the cameras on the streets and all the IoT infrastructure. We have a special unit, Moscow Parking, for operating the all the Moscow parking spaces, transport organizer, which stands for all the payment options over the transport, and Mostrans project, which is responsible for different project activities, institutional developments. Just look at our numbers that show you the Moscow transport is very interesting in terms of scale. For example, we have the second world largest car sharing fleet, more than 30,000 cars. And if you, for example, make some software for operating the car share and so on, you'll have a really big market for that. We're really well developed in terms of technology. Recently, we started a big project of integrating the face pay option in all the stations in the future of the Moscow Underground. This project has a very strong tech inside. We also wait for the moment, and I'm personally, when we can start and be the first, I believe we'll be the first in Europe city where autonomous taxi works in commercial way. Hope we can make it in November this year. And also Moscow leading in some new ways of ecology, for example. Now we have more than 800 electric buses working on the road every day. It's #1 in Europe. We have different projects with the robot delivery, with the constantly growing micromobility services, and we have interesting plans for launching the new ways of transportation. For example, water transport. We hope we can make the absolutely electric ships in the next year. And wait a second. And as a startups, I think you are interested in the amount of that market. We think that our estimation of our market is about almost 10 billion euros each year. That's why Moscow Transport can be a good customer for you as a startup. You need just one customer in overall Russia, and you will have enough work to do, enough things to operate. Some more details about the program. I think that most of you already seen this information at our website during the application process. We get applications until this Sunday, until the 14th of November. What will happen next? On the next step, we will form an innovation group, which consists of a representative from the project side, our potential internal customer, our managers who integrate pilots, and innovation manager as well. At this stage, we'll have a calls, and during this call, we will understand your expectations as a project about what you need from our side in terms of technical stuff, product stuff, integration of your hardware, software, APIs, and so on, about any other resources, about the timelines. And we will cover the questions about our needs in terms of what product you are doing, how it can help to make the Moscow transport more innovative, faster, and more comfortable for all the passengers and people. Regarding the education side, but regarding the training in our program, we are very practical piloting program. It's not an accelerator where we will teach you how to make customer develop and so on. We work with the major projects, and our main focus is to help you make pilot. That's why we first of all will tell you about Moscow transport system overall and in details regarding to the specified area where your project is working. Also, we'll make a webinar about how to sell to Russian B2G, how to make an offer, about the people directions, and we are here to help you to launch your pilot and to make it successful, to scale the pilot and solution next to the overall structure of Moscow transport. We know the pandemic situation, and that's a very important thing we took into account. And that's why we decided to allow teams participate in a remote way. For example, if you have software solution and you don't need to come personally to Moscow physically, I mean, you can done the program remotely. You don't need to make visas or have any other travel expenses and so on. you can done that remotely. Even you have a hardware solution, we can help you with installment if you will send us instructions, so on. We are here to assist. But of course, we will be very happy to see you personally in Moscow, meet you, show everything. Moscow, the really nice city, especially during the new year. We have a lot of lights, illumination, so on. The atmosphere is beautiful. And what else? You don't need to open local legal entity in Moscow to make a pilot. So at this stage, we need to understand that you have our internal customer for a solution, and then, of course, in the process, and especially during the stage of scaling, it seems to me that you will need to make a local legal entity, but it's not necessary at this stage, at the stage of piloting. So we would be very happy to see you here in Moscow. We are here to help. Our structure was designed to make the process of piloting innovative mobility solutions and related solutions to this area much faster, because directly to communicate with any transportation department of any city in the world at the hard and long process, we are here to help, to assist, and to make it much easier. What else? After the piloting process, it's not the end. We don't leave you alone face to face with this giant structure. We assist you in scaling your solution next, and scaling it in the overall structure of the Moscow transport. We also have a brilliant community with a lot of our industrial experts, our team members, our, of course, portfolio companies, founders, these very awesome guys who believe in new mobility, who always develop this area of our human being, trying to make the transportation faster, easy, and more comfortable in many ways. So we are open for any international cooperations. We are looking for projects. We are looking for community partners. We are looking for different accelerators and different city administrations to communicate with. And here is our contact email. You can reach us with any questions you have. And we are looking for your applications and would be happy to communicate with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrei, for this really detailed overview showing us a really big number of cooperation opportunities and also diversity of Moscow transport sector. And also during my private visit to Moscow, I'm always really amazed about this huge development in the past 15 years. So for instance, a couple of weeks in October, there was a pilot project for face payment system. I haven't tried it out yet, but I will definitely do it during my next visit to Moscow. Now, another colleague from the accelerator, Arkady Dorotchuk, will give you some details about examples of pilot projects which have already been rolled out. Please, Arkady, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Katya. Thank you, Andres, two Andres we have today. So I'm going to discuss some points about piloting, about wins, about our wins, about success. Project that we launched during the past year. First, I want to introduce, I'm the head of project management office, and also the piloting program is my responsibility. So I'm responsible for launching pilots, for closing pilots, for choosing project that we're going to pilot, to test, to launch, and I'm responsible for contacting with organizations. In the previous slides, you saw that there are 6 main organizations in Moscow Transport Complex, and these organizations, they provide transportation service. So you saw that there are a lot of buses, a lot of cars, a lot of traffic, but all this stuff is managed by only 6 organizations. So when we started, it was December 2020, we communicated only with 2 organizations. We had our first projects, we showed them our first startups, but now I can say that we work with every organization of Moscow Transport Complex, and our goal is to show them that innovations and startups are, the everyday and simple process that we need to engage, we need to build in, and to reach the points that we want to see in Moscow. We want our city to be comfortable. We want our city to be friendly for all people, for people with some health problems and other things. But speaking about projects, we launched during the last year 93 projects. When I say launch, I have to say that not all these projects were closed. So what is it to launch a to initiate a project? When our startups, our companies that we screen, that we choose for our acceleration program, they show their product to the heads of the main 6 organizations. And when these heads say, okay, we are interested in this product, in this technology, it becomes a product market fit, and we initiate the testing project. But when we initiate it, we begin to assess the technology. We begin to communicate with project team, and that there is only one way to close a project: when you test the product, when the product assessment tells you that everything is okay, that value is reached, that the quality of the product is enough to use it in transport complex. But there are so many ways to cancel the project. So there are a lot of situations when from the first glance of view, we can tell, okay, it's a good product, so we can fit it into our transport complex. But when we begin to assess it, when we begin when we begin the I don't have slides to show, because all slides were shown by my colleagues. So I'm just narrating you some stuff. I just want to introduce you to the world of piloting in Moscow. So there is a lot of ways not to finish your project. So you must understand the value that you want to give to Moscow, not to Moscow just as a city, but to the specific organization that is managing the specific parts of infrastructure of Moscow Transport Complex. So, okay, let me show you our wins that were during this year. I will show you 3 projects that started with the interest of organizations in the product and were successfully ended. So the first project is traffic data and most trans project. It's an organization that is creating new infrastructure for Moscow transport complex. So the project of traffic data is a video analytical system that provides the analytical data of traffic. So when we make analysis of traffic, we can make decisions to control traffic lights. We can increase the efficiency of crossing of traffic. So and the other main benefit from this system is that we can get the detailed analysis of traffic streams, and we can have the valuable information to optimize the traffic further. So it was a successful project. Everyone were happy. We launched the procedure of contracting, and now we are buying their products for the needs of Moscow transport complex. So the other project is Smart Sea. It's about safety. It's about safety for pedestrians. So you know the situation when you need to cross the roads and there is total darkness around you, and it's a very narrow area of visibility for drivers. So we introduced the system on two roads, and it showed the increasing of we measured the efficiency by asking drivers if the pedestrian can be can be seen from their point of view. So we proved the efficiency of the system on the roads, and now we're buying other two devices to integrate on the roads of Moscow. We sometimes need some more devices to test them. So it is not every time that we make one test and then we need to make other tests to show the efficiency on the roads. We show the efficiency on the pilot area, and then we should increase the piloting area to prove the efficiency of the whole product. So other product is very similar with the first. It's H-Vision. It's the system to analyze traffic. It has a very similar efficiency, but they proved that they are they showed the computer efficiency. So video analysis is the commodity today. You can buy it just from the market, but very few companies can provide you the computer efficiency when you don't need very large servers to operate the artificial intelligence algorithms, and they showed that their algorithms of traffic analysis can be operated and can work on small computers, and it is very valuable for us because it decreases the costs of integration into existing system. So with help of our community managers, with help of our friendly and very very hard working approach, we managed to create, maybe it's not our creation, it's the creation of our participants, some collaborations between our participants. So you can see 3 collaborations. I think you can read the point of these collaborations, but we're very proud of it because we showed that we can make some areas, some community where entrepreneurs, where startups can share their expertise, can share their vision of products, can share their vision of needs of transport complex, and make some new products that increases the value of transport complex at all. So I just want to invite you to our team, to our company, to invite you to Moscow, and we will take care of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arkady. Now I think the startups get some more details on how to develop the cooperation with the accelerator, and which requirements are on your side, and what should you consider being a startup which would like to enter the Moscow market. And this was really real life examples of pilot project, which is very valuable. So now, dear participants, you have the possibility to specify certain issues and ask your questions directly to Andrei Popov or Andrei Fazliev or Arkady. So just raise your hand in your panel menu or drop your questions in the chat, because now we are having our Q&A session. So I see first question from Panther Health. It's a Berlin startup. How is your timeline? How long would it take to evaluate the projects and to select pilot projects?
I can answer that question. Seems to me we have the application process until this Sunday. We plan to evaluate all the projects in 2 weeks before the 1st of December, but this timeline can be a bit moved further, but we will try to do our best and make it in 2 weeks. I mean, the initial calls with our innovation teams, with our potential internal customers.
Thank you.
Okay, some more questions? Something to add from someone, from another participant in our pitch session? I mean, it's been a really lot of information from the side of Moscow Transport Acceleration, so a lot of insights.
Perhaps
maybe you just, yeah, please.
Can I ask a question? I'm a little bit short-term invited by Mr. Hartwig from Dresden, and so I would have the question, if by chance there's also a possibility I worked out a concept for light electric car, which shall seamlessly integrate for car sharing, for logistics, city and rural logistics. When I would have a prototype, is there a possibility also to use that, because there were 30,000 car sharing cars mentioned in the presentation of Andrei, first Andrei, second Andrei, and so that's my question.
So sorry, Stefan, what's your product? I didn't follow you. So the product is
a car, a light car, which has a very innovative way of being able to be shared to transport goods in containers or in bigger, smaller containers, and so that's okay. My.
So I can tell you that if you have some car, you can join car sharing service without asking us. So, you know, if you have some car, if it is some new car, like, so you want to introduce some new car in the car market. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a special, very light car.
Okay.
You can for example, you can also it's aimed also perhaps to enable a sort of crowd delivery. It means sort of ride pooling for parcels, for containers that you can take with you, and so it's a little bit more integrated in traffic systems and the way the goods are moving, and so it's a little bit it's not only a car, but it's also the of that into the system.
So, you know, we work with car sharing service providers. they are not the parts of, the Department of Transport. They are private companies, and they provide their services. But we work with them, and I think we can so you can send us your presentation, your technical specification, and of course we will screen it. And I think we can make some steps to help you.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I also see another question. How complicated is it to get and approve from a municipality to install and implement a hardware solution using city infrastructure like lighting, pillars, and so on? The question from Anatoly Zimin. It's also.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think that the situation is very same for Moscow, for Berlin, for London. All city infrastructure is very hard to, it's very, very robust. It is very hard to change it. But there are ways, and we showed, I showed that we changed the infrastructure of traffic lights, and we managed to do it. It was not like, like a snap, but we know the roads, we know the process, and yeah, we can make it.
Okay, I hope, Anatoly, you are satisfied with this answer. Is there some more questions from your side? Okay, he said thanks. Okay, then maybe my question would be, because when I was communicating this project in Germany as a coordinator for external communications, many people were really amazed first about the numbers of applications within this 3 national rounds, and also about this whole idea. I mean, if you hear it first, like Moscow is launching this project in the city of Moscow, so it's on the governmental side, the first association is really unflexible, something bureaucratic, and so on. How do you manage to balance these 2 worlds, 2 parts of this project? I mean, the officials at one side and industrial experts sitting in this transport companies, and the really dynamic startup community. So what's the secret?
So yeah, you want to know the secret. It's very good intention to know all our secrets, but the secret is that our mission, our goal of our project is to make Moscow City an innovation hub. We use standard project management process. We do not invent something new, something outstanding. We just open ISO international standards for project management, and we use all modern approaches for innovation management. And we try to find people, try to motivate people, we try to show that innovations, like in means of changes, are good for everyone. And when we manage to to make this inception into minds of our colleagues that innovations and changes are valuable, that are not so difficult, and do not need so many decisions. It works. From the beginning, it's very difficult, but when you start to change the culture, when you start to change the mind, the way of thinking, it goes on very, very easy. So our first iteration of the program was very difficult. Our colleagues from organizations didn't understand what we were going to do because everything was fine. If you answer every manager, if you ask any manager, does he have a problem? He will always answer you that he doesn't have problems. Everything is fine. Everything is under control. But the innovation process is the process of changing the way of thinking, changing the way of thinking about the area that you are responsible to. So now, when we launched 93 pilot projects and we screened so many solutions, we can say that we are starting to change the culture. So the culture is everything, and processes make this, the processes, the robust processes, just help you to follow your mission. So it's not a detailed answer, but I cannot add some other points. It's a culture and the process. It's the only secret.
I see. I've got that point, because also we as a Russian Chamber of Trade of Commerce are quite experienced exactly in this issue, the culture issue. Okay, thank you very much. Right now, I don't see any further questions in the chat. So, and therefore, I would say we will come to our second session, and I would like to invite Christian Kaden from Logistic Network Hanover, an internationally operating consulting company based in Hanover and Berlin, specialized in the fields of logistic and mobility industry. LNC Hanover is, among other things, an authorized project partner for German ministries and institutions in the implementation of urban mobility projects. And Christian Kaden will present some project examples for the last mile solutions in Germany and Berlin. So please welcome Christian, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, it's amazing to hear what Moscow is doing. And my keyword was light vehicles to use for urban logistics, because it's a kind of a different area, but also connected to urban mobility as well. And yeah, I want to give you an overview of what's happening in Berlin and how startups can figure out a way or find solutions for the issues we're facing in urban logistics. We see ourselves as a consultancy company, but also like we are called an enabler or a connector between cities, companies, startups, and city inhabitants. And we are bringing together all these different parties to tackle the challenges in the fields of urban logistics, urban mobility. And yeah, so if everyone has good solutions for the problems, we're trying to connect them also with yeah, the cities or the city in Berlin. And together in pilot projects, we are going to test solutions, and hopefully we can go from testing to implementing solutions long term. So maybe not everyone here is might be an expert on last mile logistics. Maybe there are more experts on transportation and mobility. So I want to give you a quick overview about challenges we are facing at the moment. As you probably all know in your private, yeah, from a private life, yeah, delivery traffic is continuing to increase. We saw that also in the pandemic situation. A lot of more goods are getting delivered. And yeah, also sometimes logistics is forgotten when we talk about mobility. So we have a lot of cars and transport vehicles on the streets, on the trains, and also on the water side. that deliver goods, and it's becoming more and more, and we're having a lot of more challenges by that. And also the customer needs are changing, which means, for instance, we're having a lot of same-day delivery wishes. The companies need to apply to the customer needs, and also we're figuring, or we're tackling the problem of environmental pollution, which is a bigger deal in cities, for instance, like Berlin. And we need to find solutions to tackle that issue and to find innovative approaches to tackle the environmental pollution locally in the cities. We can do that a lot with innovations, but another approach can be to change also the framework conditions, where we are closely working together with municipalities to change that in order to get this innovation going in the cities as well. I want to present two projects. We started together with other companies and also with startups and with the cities as well. Sometimes it might not look like the best innovative way, but there are solutions and concepts which need to be tested, and maybe we have some solutions for long-term implementations. So one project we had in Berlin was like a blueprint project, because we brought together the 5 biggest cab companies like DHL, Hermes, DPD, GLS, and UPS to share a micro hub in the city and to deliver their goods or their parcels by sustainable and locally emission-free cargo bikes towards the customers. So if you might not be familiar with micro hubs, what is it? So the conventional way is like usual common cars or transport vehicles are going into dense inner cities. And we have a lot of issues, like we call it in Germany, like second row parking, for instance, which has which tackles problems or problems occurring in the traffic safety as well, but also, as I said, to find more sustainable ways to deliver the goods towards the customers. So we implemented the micro hub, where still sometimes e-vehicles, but also sometimes still conventional vehicles brought their parcels towards it, and it was locally spread it, or the parcels were delivered by e-cargo bikes in Berlin. It was a research project, but it also went on after the funding phase, and we wanted to look or learn together with the companies which e-cargo bikes are useful, how we can integrate these micro hubs in an urban environment, what are requirements we need, and how we can handle the delivery as well in the cities. I have to admit there are nicer solutions like a 20-foot sea container, but it was a research project, so we needed a solution which was just easy to implement and also just part-time there. Yes. To have an insight where it all happened, it was in the district Prenzlauer Berg in Berlin, and from there all the parcels were delivered by e-cargo bikes towards the customers. That's how the site looked like. It was a tram turning point, and currently the project is not going on anymore, but it has reasons, because the district needs the site or the location for other things. We're having a big problem finding space in the cities for solutions like that. But what the outcome was, we saw that we can locally reduce the CO2 emissions by these concepts, and we also had a big acceptance and a positive impact, yeah, for this concept by the people, but also had an impact on the traffic, that we could stop the second row parking, so the traffic was more floating again, and we increased the traffic safety. Another project or another concept which we implemented together with partners was a multifunctional open source product transfer system. It's like a parcel box, but yeah, like a lot of companies, not only DHL, for instance, could put in their parcels inside there. And we also had the sharing system on that area. It's called Holzmarkt, where we did e-commercial vehicle sharing and e-commercial cargo bike sharing, also for the people there, and also tried out how urban production can be done to reduce traffic, or to reduce traffic. That's why we try to do the production on site there in that project. For instance, it can be interesting also for some companies here in that call. I don't know, but yeah, we figured that we have like parcel boxes can have more functions than just be a locker unit. We can also use it as a main spot in districts where you also can have a recycling unit or a tool sharing unit. So it's a nice way to have a central point where people can get things or deliver things towards, and it also will reduce the traffic around an area which has a transfer or modular transfer and handling system. I don't want to go into details of all the projects here from other cities, but it's also like a big thing at the moment in all the bigger cities or even smaller cities around Germany. They all try to find alternative delivery concepts, and also facing the emission-free delivery. So it's yeah, they are good. It's at the moment it's a good way to look there into innovations and to start businesses in that area as well. How the future of inner city commercial transport looks like, I mean, nobody can watch into the future straight away, but not only cargo bikes will be the solution for the future, also autonomous delivery vehicles, also drones, for instance, can be sometimes an option for the future, for instance, to deliver medical goods towards the customers. It will not happen probably in the next 5 years, but we are talking about a longer time frame here. So you have a lot of parts where a lot of innovation can happen. Lessons learned from all the projects and on all the research we also did is that we, for the last mile delivery of tomorrow, we also need more modularization and standardization, which means at the moment each city is trying out concepts for themselves, but we can learn from each other as well and bring together some standards to not starting from scratch in each city again, to also learn how other best case practices went on, and to tackle the problem faster. But as I said in the beginning, it's not happening without the municipalities. We also need a lot of regulations, or some cities around Europe have it already, like for instance, low emission zones or access restrictions, to also have an impact on the delivery of tomorrow. Right, that's what I wanted to tackle. And also, for instance, as I said, like areas for micro hubs are pretty rare in cities. And also when we plan new districts or new buildings in the cities, it's important also to look on the logistic side, not only implementing mobility hubs, for instance, but also focusing on how the goods will be delivered towards the customers in the end in the cities. So my conclusion, or our conclusion is, it's not a surprise, there are a lot of solutions, different approaches, how we can tackle the problems or the issues I presented in the beginning. And it's all about finding new concepts, but also about finding new innovations, and not forget about logistics when we talk about urban mobility as well. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for the invitation. If you have further questions, you can write me an email or just call me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christian, for giving us this overview about all the challenges in the field of last mile, and also just showing us how to find the right solution to solve all these problems. I have one more question. I know that that the LNC Hanover, of course, work with together with startup. What is your experience? The most teams, are they from Germany, or do you also cooperate with international mobility startups?
Mm-hmm. At the moment, most of the startups are from Germany, but we are open for any cooperation. Sometimes we also have companies or startups which want to test, for instance, like the cargo bikes in a project. So we give them, or can give them, an option to do that in a funded project, for instance. Yeah, we are open for that, but as I know, the more of the startup companies are at the moment still from Germany, but it's not an issue. Also, last mile delivery is not an issue just from Germany. It's worldwide or Europe-wide. Yeah.
I see another question from Andre to you, Christian.
Yes, Christian, thank you so much for these cases. It was very interesting. Regarding the first one, we saw such an experiment of micro hubs on wheels here in Moscow. It seems to me 1 or 2 years ago. I got LCV cars and we got pedestrian couriers to decrease the delivery time. And I think that it's very interesting, these experiments in micromobility services. And I have one more question about the regulations of autonomous last mile delivery, because here in Russia we have in some areas commercial delivery by bots, like by Yandex company. They look pretty similar, like Starship delivery bots. And what about Germany? Because we have some strong tech in Russia with the self-driving, I mean, in the last mile and the big one, regular cars. And how, to simplify the question, can Russian last mile delivery bot, autonomous bot company to start the operations in Germany, and what regulations we will meet?
So you're speaking about water transportation, right?
No, I mean just about delivery bots like Starship. Do you know the Starship guys from Baltic region? It's autonomous bots, robots, land one, for delivering goods, food, and so on.
At the moment, for instance, like if you go in the air, the regulations are so strict you can't deliver by drones. On the streets, it's I want to say it's like level 3. It's possible to have level 3 vehicles on the streets, but not totally autonomous vehicles. The regulations are still very strict here in Germany. But I can look it up as well because I'm not an expert there, but at the moment the regulations are still very strict, and it can be an option just to test something to get a valid or the possibility to do it, but not for the common use.
Do you have any special zones, maybe in the city area or outside the city area, to make these pilots or not? Because we have some special zones in innovation regions where, I mean, geographically, where you can test self-driving cars, and do you have something like that overall in Germany or not?
I don't know about cities, but I know on the highways there are some parts where you can test it. They implemented a traffic sign for that, and if you see that or in that area, you can test autonomous vehicles, but always with a driver inside.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Christian, and thank you, Andre, for asking a question about further cooperation possibilities. So now I would like to introduce Vladislav Olejnik from Association of Digital Business in Berlin-Brandenburg, SIBB. SIBB is one of our partners in the B2B cooperation project Deep Tech Cup Russia, and we've made several online events this year with this association. Vladislav will introduce Berlin's startup ecosystem to you, and please, Vladislav, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Katerina. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Moscow. Good evening, Berlin. So my name is Vladislav. I'm project manager international business. I'm really glad to be here today with you, and thank you for the opportunity to give this short overview about Berlin startup ecosystem and about our association. So I represent SIBB. Yeah, by the way, I didn't start with my presentation yet. Moment. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. Now you see my presentation, all of you, right? Fantastic. Okay, yes. So yes, SIBB was founded in 1992 as Association of Software, Information and Communication Industry in Berlin and Brandenburg. So back in time, people gathered, some companies, to create this wonderful organization. But now, in 2021, we are really part of biggest Berlin ecosystem. So you can see these various logos. And the first one with the bear is Department of Berlin Senate of Economics, Energy and Public Enterprises. And it's local agency for developing economy and technology in Berlin. And Berlin Partner aims to attract companies, investments, and investors to set up their activities in Berlin. And we work in close cooperation with Berlin Partner. We are also part of this creative cluster for Berlin-Brandenburg, EKT, Medium- und Kreativwirtschaft Berlin-Brandenburg, which is cluster of the digital economy within the joint innovation strategy of states of Berlin-Brandenburg. Large number of cluster players came together to drive the digital transformation in the region. And these united networks, universities, companies, and associations to make up this cluster. And you can also see this Project Zukunft, which means Project Future, which is a state initiative of Berlin Senate Department for Economics, Technology, and Public Enterprises to draw up also investments, various companies here in Berlin to set up their activities here. And yeah, many things are also naturally are financed by European Union, European Regional Development and Fund. Yes, moving to my next slide. Some facts and figures about Berlin. Yes, that's over 75% of all startups in all Germany are located in Berlin, and around 500 new startups coming each and every year. Many of them, of course, also are getting closed and dying, but this is the it's circulating in this way in our life. Yes, so many startups are getting funded in Berlin, and many startups also coming at the stage and leaving the stage. But nevertheless, every 8th job created is from the digital economy sector, and 5th largest employer in Berlin comes from startup. And why is that actually? What is the catalyst of this process? Why Berlin is so successful? I would say there are many factors why Berlin became this center of gravity, but some of the factors are because of the many international workforces, educated workforces, intellectual workforces, many students who know more than one international, one language, more than German or English language. And yes, many factors, also location of Berlin and outstanding education of Berlin specialists. So these are the key factors which makes Berlin really successful, and which makes Berlin the gravity center for the most talented people, not only in Europe, but I would say even in the world. And especially also after the Brexit, we are witness of this massive shift of the workforce, of the companies, this intellectual shift from UK to Berlin, to Amsterdam, to Berlin, and to other cities. But mainly, I would say there are two main rivals in Europe, Berlin and Amsterdam. Okay, let me show you a very interesting map. It's the map of startups of Berlin. And this is the road ring, the main road ring in Berlin, so to say A zone. And this part is western part of Berlin. So we can see this part is eastern part of Berlin. So it's common GDR. Yes. So the concentration of startups, as you can see, are more concentrated in the eastern part of Berlin, and here is the western part. Right. Yes, some of the cost factors are also playing crucial role. We have 3 cities over here, which are also bossing from their startup ecosystem and IT talents. But as you can see, among Berlin, San Francisco, and London, I think it's obvious which city is the cheapest. It's Berlin, and still it's has, I would say, the most advantageous location. For sure, it has the advantage before London in terms of location in Europe. And yes, as I already mentioned, the city has many students with higher education who are able to speak 2 and even more languages. I have also plenty of different nationalities here in Berlin, which everything makes together this puzzle of a successful story of Berlin. Let me move further. So here you can see the availability of venture capital that it's getting more and more money in Berlin. Berlin used to have this fame of very poor city. Also, it even has this motto like poor but sexy, introduced by former mayor of Berlin. But with the time, it's slightly changes. This reality slightly changes. Yeah, so Berlin has more startups in Germany, more than Munich, more than Hamburg, and more than any other city. Yes, each and every year, more investments come to Berlin. If you'll be interested afterwards, I can share this presentation with Ekaterina, and you can ask me or Ekaterina, then I will send you this presentation forward. Yes, so you may also see that the scene, startup scene of Berlin is really rich, but not only from startups. It has a lot of incubators and accelerators, which is very, very crucial, specifically from the early stage, from your first steps when you just created a startup. All right, so the main niche of Berlin, as for now, is commerce, logically, but you can also see different other niches which are following e-commerce. Okay, and let me jump into our association, SRBD. So today we have a lot of events to promote exchange of ideas, cooperation, know-how transfers, workshop. It's everything about business networking, which is really crucial in our modern world. So yes, we have 13 various forums, which you can see here, around which we're organizing various webinars, but also offline events. So we try to attract under these forums many experts from these fields from Berlin, but not also from Berlin, mainly from Berlin. I'm in charge, for example, of the forum Human Resources, and my colleague Nikolai Tretjakov is also here. He's in charge of the forum Subscription Economy. Yes, one of the interesting initiatives which we were behind, and which is of course getting financed from the Berlin Senate, is Deep Tech Award. So the Senate Department for Economic Affairs, Energy and Enterprises is offering this award, and the prizes are given to innovative startups from such fields as artificial intelligence, blockchain, IT security, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, and social sustainability tech. So the award is aimed at small and medium-sized business from Berlin-based companies. And the awards is 10,000 euros, which are given to 5 companies from each of this category mentioned above. So let me move further. Yes, it's also very interesting department from our association, SABD. We have this wonderful startup accelerator, which currently has open round for the next 8 months round startup scholarship. So as you may see, during the 8 months, 2, maximum 4 people from one startup would have 2,000 euro brutto financial support. But money is important, but maybe even more important is be able to have right mentoring and coaching and expert knowledge support during this way. And at the end of this exciting way, our startup stipendium department is organizing various events during which people can pitch their ideas, their products. Like today, we have this wonderful knowledge exchange and pitch session. So we also organizing such events during which startups can pitch their idea and find potential investors. Okay, finally, let me jump into our wonderful project on which I'm honored to work very closely with Ekaterina and with Heike Russland, Russian Chamber, representation of Russian Chamber of Commerce in Germany. So, the project called GitHub Russia, and we cover 5 different segments: cybersecurity, fintech, e-health, tech, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing, logistics, mobility, and smart city. And yes, what are the goals of this project? The goals are to boost this cooperation between Berlin-based and Russian IT companies from these 5 segments fields I mentioned about. And we are boosting this cooperation by organizing webinars, business delegations, different workshops. So it's all about bridge making and facilitating these wonderful meetings. I hope in the future there'll be more possibility to have this live meetings, and this COVID obstacle will soon be removed. I hope I can be optimistic about this. And so yes, further aims are contact with local technology parks, information to our Russian partners about accelerators and incubators, and as I already mentioned, connecting business from different sectors, Berlin and Russia. So we provide this across industry events with firms and businesses. Until now, we managed to organize some of the events. So it's event pipeline 2021. Worth mentioning also that on May, at the end of May, we have visited Skolkovo startup village, and we have visited also Resoft and some other partners in Moscow and St. Petersburg. It was very exciting, especially during this COVID times. Here you may see our key partners as for now in Russia. Yes, and I think it will be all as for today. So please contact us for the questions you have. And Ekaterina, thank you again for the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vladislav. There are really many opportunities to enter the Berlin market, and also to find the perfect fitted cooperation platform. SIBB is definitely one of them. I'm also very grateful for your support also in this event, because you recommended to several startups which will be joining our pitching session very soon. So thanks again, and I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't be the last event which we'll do together. So looking forward for our future online meetings. Thank you. And thank you. So now we come to the most important part of our event that basically brought us together here, our pitch session. We have in total 8 startups that will present their ideas and solutions. Each slot will take about 7 minutes, so please consider the timing. And our first startup today is an Israeli company en route. We all know the situations when we're stuck in traffic jams and losing our precious time on the road. So what can we do? We can talk on the phone. Sometimes we work on our laptops, listen to a podcast. Aviv Frankel from En route will show us how can you shop online during the cab ride and even be paid for your own taxi trip. I would say not bad at all. So Aviv, please welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Katya. Thanks for this opportunity. Nice to meet you all. Just a minute. Let me share my screen and tell you the story of En route. So here it goes. So can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Fantastic. So we started our company with a vision of the future. It's the year 2030. You get into the car, you say the address, and the car starts driving by itself. And for the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, people will be captive audience in mobility, because the self-driving car revolution, if it will happen, right, there's a big if, will create a new currency. And this currency is free time. Morgan Stanley forecast at this time stands for 600 billion hours, free for people to do lots of things. But we argue that already today, millions of people are using self-driving cars that look like this. Because when you take the Moscow metro or a train or a bus or an Uber, you are already in a self-driving car. With a driver, you have free time, you're captive audience. And one of the things people do when they have free time in mobility is very interesting. They shop. So apparently in the UK, 20% of all online shopping occurs every morning between 7 and 9 a.m. That's more than $28 billion each year. Only in the UK, only between 7 and 9 a.m. only in mobility. The numbers are mind-blowing. And the problem for mobility companies, I mean technological mobility companies like Uber or Yandex, or more traditional mobility services like mass transit operators, is that they allow people for free time, but somebody else makes money on this free time. So they're missing on this huge e-commerce opportunity. And that's where we come in. So En route has developed a personalized and location-based commerce and loyalty platform. We are not an app, we are an add-on, an SDK which is installed into existing mobility or payment apps to give users the best offers during their en route time. So how does it work? Once we're installed into an app, we understand, first of all, the context of the ride. And on the other hand, we're studying people over time to give them more than getting them from point A to point B. And if we have this equation, and we add businesses that really want to interact with people in this golden time of mobility, we can do something a bit crazy, and that is allowing people to ride for free. So how do they ride for free? Well, it's like a game. The ride starts, and through the app, people are using to order the ride or pay for the ride. They get a message, hey, Katya, you have 20 minutes until you arrive at your destination. Why don't you use your free time, buy stuff from your favorite retailers, and with every product you buy, you decrease the amount you have to pay on your next ride until you get a free ride, because the retailers are paying for the ride. So it sounds simple, but there's lots of heavy lifting in terms of technology and product. We basically developed an engine that segmentizes hundreds of shops, millions of products, clusterizes the users, and connects everything to the context of the ride, because this is where it gets really interesting. So if you see this gentleman who's using this shuttle service, he wants to buy basically a cake for his kids on his way back home. So we are building our product to be able to tap into inventory systems in real time in locations along the route or next to the destination for this gentleman to click and collect. And this is an even more sustainable way to shop, because when you click and collect, you don't need the delivery and you rarely return whatever you buy. This is how our architecture looks like. On one hand, we're connected to hundreds of retailers. We take their catalogs, the data, and everything is personalized within the mobility app we're integrated into. We work with all the big names. So we have deals with a lot of retailers around the world. And we are already, you talked a lot about Germany in this event. We are working in Germany with the Deutsche Bahn. We recently launched in Singapore, in Madrid. We won a few prizes and the prestigious Horizon 2020 grant. And this is what our mobility companies have to say about us.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Andreas Lamprecht.
Hello, I'm Leon Daniels, and I used to run the transport in London.
Head of Business Development, IT, and the CIO for DB Regio.
We have chosen En route, which is an Israeli company, and we are very proud.
Working with En route was very successful, and we got very interesting and positive customer feedback.
En route introduces a whole new revenue stream, giving transit customers free travel.
I think it's the best opportunity to transmit for all the people that we are a big company.
I was asking myself, is that possible to put that great idea into action? If we could offer to our customers, and that is 7 million people a day, ride and commute for free, and en route is showing us how this idea can be put into action.
Metro Madrid choose a startup like en route because it's a good combination. I'm sure this is the beginning of an important collaboration.
I'm sure that en route is going to do big things in Spain with us.
The passengers love it, the operators love it, and it's a win-win-win for everyone.
So to sum it all up, what's in it for our mobility partners? First of all, it's a new revenue stream. We can help them create a stickiness effect to their app. We do that with a new experience. We can also help them create and know passengers better through valuable data. And as Leon said in the video, everybody wins. So we're excited to be able to meet you guys and hopefully work in Moscow too.
Thank you very much, Aviv. I'm pretty sure, especially the Russian women will be highly impressed by this option to combine shopping and rides. You know, just really great idea. And I also like the video on your website because it's, I don't know, from the style, it reminded me of Martin Scorsese, especially the driver. Very funny. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much.
I'm sorry. Our next participant is a Bavarian company, Pepper Motion, with its solution Atrofit. Atrofit gives a second life to the diesel tracks and buses by transforming them into electric vehicles. That's quite an issue in the bigger city because they still have a lot of older buses, even if Moscow has an enormous number of electro buses. But Robert Reisenauer will introduce the project. So please, Robert, we're looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much, Katja. Hello to everyone. It's great to be here and to present our Pepper Motion products to you. I will just share my screen to show the presentation. So at first, the idea of electrifying existing vehicles of and existing commercial vehicles was founded, or the idea started in 2017, and today we have solutions to electrify city buses, but also trucks for the urban transport area. We as a company are based in Ingolstadt, nearby Munich in Bavaria, and with our solution we want to offer an electrification solution for commercial vehicles, which enables bus operators, transport companies, but also logistic companies to enable them for a quick entry into electric mobility. We as a company have now began our business in 2018. We there made the first bus running in a conference here in Munich, but unfortunately, with now since the last 1.5 years, we had a lot of issues with the COVID situation, but are now entering the market with our products and are also very interested in the international expansion. Our idea, where are we coming from? So in general, there's a big demand of or for electric commercial vehicles in the whole world, and especially for the city operators or for public transport organizations, there's a big challenge to come. And we have identified that original car manufacturers and commercial vehicle manufacturers has the issue to solve that gap of electrification with new products is not enough to achieve all the climate goals and the reduction of emissions in the traffic within the next years. And therefore, we need more zero emission vehicles in the market. And with our solution of converting existing vehicles, we offer operators and logistic companies these solutions and are also able to help existing manufacturers, vehicle manufacturers, to bring new electric vehicles in the market as well, but also to help them to electrify their fleets in the aftermarket. What we are doing is, you see it here in written in green, is we are basically a software engineering company. We have developed a vehicle control unit and software which enable us to combine the new components which are necessary to drive fully electric with the old vehicle architecture. Therefore, of course, we need to exchange several components of the vehicle. For example, we exchange the transmission, of course, the engine, and put in, for example, for buses, city buses right now, electric motors nearby the wheels and the back axle. We have also batteries integrated into the existing vehicle in the back of the bus, as you can see it here in the picture. But also we need to take care of other components which instead of driving with the diesel engine or working with the diesel engine, now need their energy supply fully electric from the battery and running by the electric motors. So we also exchange different auxiliary units like pumps, like braking systems, but also the heating and cooling solution for the vehicle to run it fully electric. With that, also we are able for our customers to build up an electromobility ecosystem, including charging infrastructure and consulting for the implementation of electric commercial vehicles in the existing routes, or to help them to adapt the routes to drive fully electric. Why should I retrofit an existing commercial vehicle? Of course, on the one hand, it is environmentally friendly, definitely. We save resources. We have a very sustainable solution because we use the existing vehicle chassis. We use also some existing infrastructure at the depots of our customer and adapt it to use it for e-mobility drive. Then also it is a very economical solution. We are cheaper, up to 40% cheaper than buying a new electric commercial vehicle, but also we are reducing operating and maintenance costs compared definitely to a diesel bus or a diesel truck, but also to new electric vehicles as well. Then back to sustainability. We extend the lifespan of the vehicles up to 10 years. Normally, a bus in Europe is driving his first 10 years, for example, in Germany. Then after that, he's sold to other countries and drives there another 10 or 15 years as a diesel vehicle. And we want to that this second life of the buses or the trucks is emission-free and fully electric. And also we have a delivery time which is very competitive compared to new vehicles as well. We can deliver or electrify commercial vehicles within 4 to 6 months, which is quite quick compared to new vehicles as well. So finally, I have some pepper moments for you. You see some pictures, some impressions of our products. On the left, you see a pepper truck solution, which is running in Austria since May this year. We have right now produced 6 buses and 1 truck, are currently producing another 11 buses. And next year, we plan to expand to also other countries, and why not Russia?
So that's a very good question, especially after I read in some articles that you've been already entering the Polish market, which is also Eastern Europe. Could you just tell a few words about this experience? How is it going? How's it moving on in this region? Thank you.
So, of course, the expansion from one market to another for a small company is very difficult, but we see the opportunity that especially in some Eastern European markets, the retrofit is quite familiar in the market because you use vehicles longer than you use it in Germany, for example. And so the refurbishment is quite a common business there. And that is why we said, yeah, let's take a look to Eastern European countries. They are also working in Bulgaria, Poland, and our experience is really, really good. And the interest is really high as well for buses, as well for trucks.
Good to hear it. And I see that Andrei Fazliev has another question. Please, Andrei.
Robert, thank you so much for your presentation. We have a good experience with electric buses in Moscow already. And in your presentation, you've mentioned the innovative type of the batteries. And my question will relate to the temperatures, because I could see that your market now is Germany with a mild winter, and also Spain, it seems to me, which almost has no winter in we're looking from a Russian side, and we have extremely cold temperatures, sometimes like -30 degrees. And you, of course, know what happens with the lithium-ion batteries with the such cold temperatures. So can you cover these questions for me a bit more from a product side, how your batteries, your innovative tech works in extra cold?
So we are let's call us a smaller vehicle manufacturer, and with that we have shorter development cycles and development phases than, for example, the big manufacturers. And with that, we can enter the market very quickly with new solutions, with innovative solutions, and also onboard new suppliers very quick as well. And so for us, it is very important that we are creating energy efficiency with our solutions, and that also includes the battery solutions and also, of course, the climate situation where our customers are located at. Of course, we haven't ever driven in such cold scenarios like cold areas like in Russia. We will make our first experience in Poland this year. I hope also there we will recognize how it is working and the battery is behaving. But we see that there are solutions also from our suppliers to drive in such areas. And it would be interesting, Andrei, how your experience are with the electric buses in Russia.
Okay, thanks. We can talk about this in details in terms of tech and so on. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Robert. So, and our next participant is Berlin-based startup Panther Health, and Farzad Vesali will tell us about the predictive maintenance solutions which prevent the damages for trains and railway infrastructure. Panther Health also cooperates with Deutsche Bahn, of course, and this is really a big issue which many of us who live in Germany face from time to time, with train delays after some tornado or just trees fallen to the trains and so on. So Farzad, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And yeah, I am Farzad Vesali, co-founder and CEO of Panther Health. We are based in Berlin, and we are working on predictive maintenance solution for railway industry. Around 10 million euro is just the railway daily maintenance cost in Germany, but according to a research in 2018, 30% of trains are having delay. This happens majorly because the maintenance are being performed either proactively so early or reactively too late. The solution obviously is finding the right time of doing maintenance, but to achieve that, we have to predict upcoming problems, and for this, we need a lot of data to discover the pattern of the problem. So to make it short, it's all about data to solve this problem. To acquire data, we have made two early standalone sellable products. Data Hunter, which is an IoT solution and collects real data from running train, and Data Farmer, which is an analytical simulation solution and generates synthetic data. In next step, we cook the data with algorithmic analysis and machine learning methods. And finally, our main dish, which is the predictive maintenance plan, will be the result of this process. This plan answers to where is the possible problem, what is the reason of the problem, and when is the best time to repair the problem. It is good to mention that right now, our current focus for all our products are pantograph and catenary. Pantograph is a device on the top of the train that get the train's electrical power from the overhead line or catenary. Our business model is to sell monitoring and especially predictive maintenance solution on a certain price per kilometer per year. Besides that, we sell our simulation service in a comprehensive dashboard in a SaaS model. 16 billion euro per year is the total available market of predictive maintenance in rail industry. Near 900 million euro per year is the share of pantograph and catenary, which is our serviceable available market. Over EU is worth of 300 million euro per year is our targeted market. We expect this market to grow 3 times before the next decade. Even so, there is no predictive maintenance provider for pantocatenary yet. All future players will be coming from monitoring companies that by collecting good amount of data can enter to the predictive maintenance market. However, to stay ahead of these companies, we have 3 main USPs. Patented pulse monitoring, a mathematical model, and analytical simulation, which I explain one by one. You probably have heard musicians playing using such glasses in the streets. Using different glasses size with different amount of liquid in them produce different music notes, or in the other word, different vibration frequency. In our patent, basically, we use the same concept. We are hitting the pantograph when it's going to raise and collect the vibration signal with an accelerometer. Any change in the body of pantograph in future will change this vibration, and we can identify a problematic pantograph before the train starts to move. In rail industry, it is very hard to collect meaningful data. For example, in pantocatenary use case, measuring the force value will be only possible with a very expensive measurement device. Well, using our mathematical model along our affordable monitoring hardware, we can estimate such values with a reliable accuracy. Our simulation engine is capable of simulating defects, I mean virtual defects, and it generates huge amount of automatically labeled data. With this, we can predict problems, patterns, and that hasn't happened before in reality, and create a more reliable predictive maintenance. We are a very multidisciplinary team with 1 PhD and 3 masters in field of software, railway, energy system, and mechanical engineering. We have a wide range of advisory board for technical, business, legal sides, and some of them are mentioned here. We started with the use case of pantograph and catenary. So far, Panto Health have achieved 8 national and international awards and grants. We are the simulation partner of DBNets, and our hardware has been installed in Belgium and Germany. Knorr-Bremse is our partner for running a pilot project, and Deutsche Telekom is also our partner for our precise positioning service. Pantelis has been selected by Startups Insight as a top 5 rail startup in the world. And 2 weeks ago, Pantelis has received the Innovation Award of European Railway class. So now at the end, I want to mention some kind of call to action to have a pilot project in Russia. I would say similar our monitoring hardware we have installed in Germany and Belgium, we can run same thing in Russia. Or another thing could be collecting data from your inspection or normal inspection data and process them with our software to deliver more meaningful results. That's our call to action for Russia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Farzad. And Andre, please, I see that you've raised your hand.
Thank you, Farzad, for the presentation. You work in a very interesting market. I actually don't have a question. I just have one small comment because in the recent years, we demounted our throttle lines in Moscow. We decided to move this mobility into in charge of electric buses. But at the same moment, we built a completely new urban rail transportation lines. So market for you, we grow it day to day for a solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to hear that. Great.
Okay, thank you. So no more questions to Farzad. Okay. Then Slovenian startup will be our next participant. The company called Green Mesh offers an IoT solution for detection of parking spots. And we know that the big issue in every mega city or bigger city, as for myself, I have to find parking slots even in another district in Berlin where I'm trying to find a parking space in later evening. So I will probably face this problem also tonight. So Anatoly Zemin will explain how to find some solution and will present the solution for smart parking. Please, Anatoly, we welcome you.
Hello. Nice to meet you here today. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so yeah, my name is Anatoly Zemin and I'm CEO at Green Mesh, the Slovenian company based in the city of Ljubljana. We develop the Internet of Things solutions, including hardware and software for different purposes. But first, and I would like to introduce our technology, which enables the detection of parking spots availability. It is used in many different spaces like urban shopping malls, airports, and sports centers. And the technology has direct and indirect benefits, such as increasing parking revenues, improving urban mobility and city planning, and reducing air and noise pollution as well. The device utilizes the latest micro-radar technology and magnetic field sensor in combination with the machine learning algorithms, which help to achieve best-in-class performance and detection accuracy. The device is installed at surface level in each parking spot of the monitoring area, and after activation, it works with gateway or base station through LoRaWAN or NB-IoT wireless protocols. When a vehicle occupies or leaves the parking place, the device transmits the data to a cloud application. The device has many advantages, such as almost zero maintenance, thanks to battery power, and very low power consumption, which allow it to reach up to 7 years of lifetime. And because of the surface level installation, the device is safe from snowplows, and robust case and high ceiling level protect the device from dirt, snow, rain, chemicals, and physical impacts. LoRaWAN or NB-IoT secure technologies allow long-distance data transmission and help reduce power consumption as well. All the parking sensors gather data in real time, and data is sent to the cloud system then. This data is aggregated, converted to historical reports, which help to control parking occupation, manage parking prices, and control different areas as well. And there is many success stories from other companies and competitors. One of the solutions is monitoring parking for disabled citizens in the north of Spain. Disabled users can sign up to a municipality-run digital service using their smartphones to gain access to this database and see where the nearest disabled bay is located, saving them the time of having to drive around and locate an empty space. And the use of the digital application also means that sensors can detect when someone who has not registered as disabled through the digital service is occupying a disabled space. This means that parking enforcement officers can pinpoint those that are parked illegally. Another solution in the city of Treviso, Italy, helps to manage all parking areas in the town center, reduces the time that the staff assigned to the inspection devoted to marking the traffic ticket, and provides useful information to drivers to decrease the parking search time. And as it was initially mentioned, our company has wide expertise in the Internet of Things and many different digital solutions to help make cities smart and more efficient. We have a pilot project for waste monitoring systems in Slovenia, where we measure the level of wastes in containers and optimize routes of garbage trucks, which helps to reduce fuel expenses and travel time. Regarding smart parking, we have a pilot project in Ljubljana city center and successfully deployed system in a small business area in Seoul. And let's sum up all the information, mark key benefits of the parking solution for urban areas like Moscow. First of all, with all the collected data, you can optimize parking spaces, increase or decrease amount of it. Next, perform dynamic pricing strategies based on the occupancy and increase parking revenue. Optimize traffic and help drivers reduce travel time as well as noise and air pollution and become more green, like green mesh. And it's very easy to control emergency vehicle zones or electric vehicle recharging points. Regarding the pilot, our solution is easy to install and deploy. Wireless gateway installation is simple and fast, and it's able to detect signals of smart parking devices from a few kilometers away in a dense area. Mounted and activated devices are ready to work instantly without any maintenance after. So that's all. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Anatoly. Maybe there will be some question from Andre. Okay, I just have one question. If you already have worked in the German market so far?
Not yet.
Okay, because I've just mentioned this big problem of parking spaces in parking slots in Berlin. So I hope
we're ready to join and fix any issues.
I see. Okay, maybe there would be on your to-do list besides of entering the Moscow market. Thank you very much. Thank you. And so our next participant is a Finnish startup, N-Fleet. which provides an online transportation planning service. And the company was established 2014 and made an impressive development since then. I would like to welcome Juko Nieminen, who will hold the presentation. Thank you very much. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can you all hear me and see my slide? I suppose you can. Well, I will start. Hello.
We can see it. It's all fine. Thank you.
Yes, you can hear me as well. Very good.
Yes,
so, hello.
We can hear you.
Hello all. My name is Juko Nieminen. I'm calling from Jyväskylä in central Finland. I'm happy to be here. We are a small Finnish startup, but we actually do much of our business in Germany. N-Fleet is a modern but very practical tool for planning and tracking transports or mobile work. I will first tell you what N-Fleet is and how it can be utilized in Moscow, and at the end I will tell shortly about us. This is the core. N-Fleet will take the lists of vehicles and tasks and combine them into an efficient loading and transportation plan for all vehicles at the same time. I will open this up a little. What we are talking about here is VRP, a vehicle routing problem. It is a lot more than the traditional traveling salesman's problem. We have a fleet with many vehicles, and we have a large number of transportation tasks, typically with time and other constraints. The question is, which package should be placed in which vehicle so that the final and total plan is the most optimal? A VRP solver can be used for a variety of problems. In case of Moscow transports, we could think of planning and tracking transports and mobile work, which is pre-ordered. These can be people transports, package and material transports, and management of mobile service and maintenance work. On the slide is a clip from MTI webpage where I have circled the key technologies where we fall into. The motivation in using a VRP solver is a typical improvement potential of more than 20%. That would mean a change where less vehicles are needed for the work and the vehicles are used efficiently. Also, using a machine in planning will produce the plans rather quickly. Oops, that was the wrong one. Now I'm having technical problems, so we'll have to continue like this. Without going very much in detail, N-Fleet is a cloud service. It has a highly advanced functionality, yet it is very simple and modern to use. Thinking of Moscow transports and the business case for VRP planning, there we have the mentioned benefits of 20+% improvement potential and fast creation of plans. In addition, the quality of transport or service operations could greatly be improved with added predictability and visibility into services and their statuses and schedules. For us and for the other companies in the same business, the main competitor has been and still is manual planning. That is, even if computers are used in planning, the actual placement of tasks to vehicles is done manually by the planner person. This is changing, of course, but surprisingly slowly. Faster in larger transportation organizations where many have VRP planning integrated as part of their ERP systems. The main challenges we face in every project are operational processes and data. The current manual planning processes are often deeply built in the customer company way of working and is often regarded as being the best possible. The change would require a lot from the staff, and change resistance is typical. Then comes the requirement for electronic data, which needs to be accurate and contain everything needed in planning. In practice, this data is typically scattered and partially only in planning people's heads. For possible piloting in Moscow, we have an advanced solution which is in international and daily operative use. What it could be in practice would be a stepwise approach as proof of concept and more. First step could be analysis of current operations through the current planning and tracking data. Then a customized prototype can be created and tested with real-time data. If all goes well, the next steps could be piloting and further implementations. As part of the operational system, we have a number of means for doing data integration, and we also have a lot of experience for methods of data pre- and post-processing, which is always needed in these kinds of projects. Again, without going in details, the end-fleet solution consists of several key elements. These are the actual optimization core, a geographic solution, a web user interface, and a newly released module for operations tracking with mobile support. All modules are interfaced with APIs, and all core elements are set up in Microsoft Azure Cloud, where the system is set up such a way that it supports any number of use and users. N-Fleet as a company is small, but we have a lot of software as a result of work which started in the University of Jyväskylä over 10 years ago. The solution is in operational use and we do business with it, but we still are a true startup. That is, we are still trying to figure out what exactly is our product, who are the customers, and especially how to make money out of it. The company is all private, and Tuukka and myself are the co-founders. All of the software is our own property, with the exception of some open source elements and the use of cloud services. As the best public references, we have these three. The first one is about transporting all the dead cows and other dead farm animals in Norway to recycling. In the second one, we made a deep dive into challenges of large-scale home care operations. The third one is what we are most proud of. Daimler arranged an international startup challenge with hundreds of participants from all over the world. We were one of the 5 which made it through all the way to half a year of the program, and the cooperation has continued since then. This is all I was going to talk about in this pitch. Thank you very much for your time.
Katerina?
I'm sorry, Jukka, because I've lost my internet connection. We have this issue from time to time in our building. I'm sorry. So somehow I missed the last slides, and I saw that Andre already raised his hand for asking some question. Or did you already? No, not yet. Okay, I'm not disturbing anymore, so go on.
Joke, kiitos. As I remember, the only Finnish word from months I've spent in Helsinki a couple of years ago. Look, regarding the potential pilot configuration, this autumn we started an experiment of shuttle bus by demand. We integrated the option for in a suburban area to order a shuttle bus for transportation, and we can maybe optimize the utilization of our buses and so on. We have our own application, mobility as a service application in the Moscow transport with a lot of users. So am I right that to pilot the N-Fleet for this task, we need to make some software integrations through the API of our MaaS application, and also you need the data from the buses, shuttle buses we have, and you can analyze this data and count the predictions and so other things. Is it correct?
Yes, that sounds very familiar. These activities are very standard, and for that reason, we have had to develop the various means for doing the practical integrations. And as part of integrations, we have to do modifications to the data, which I call pre- and post-processing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Potential configuration of pilot. Thank you.
Thank you again, Jukka, for your presentation. So, and our next participant is the startup PTX, which helps to avoid driver accidents with a 3D detection. And I'm happy to welcome Ferdinand Wiegelmann. Please, Ferdinand.
Thank you, Katja. But actually, here's Stanislav. I'll be doing the presentation today for Ferdinand. let me share my screen real quick. Okay, can you see my screen? Yes? Okay.
We can see it. Yes.
So, as I said, my name is Stanislav, and I'm in charge of software development for mobile systems at BT Tech. And tonight, I would like to present to you a couple of solutions we came up with for public transportation. Okay. So at first, I want you to imagine a scene you probably see in your everyday life in the city. So it's a busy street with a lot of buses, a lot of cars, but also cyclists and pedestrians. But what happens if those buses want to go to the stop, go to the right, and the driver doesn't see the cyclist? Well, a lot of unnecessary accidents happen. And I'm pretty sure none of us want to see these kind of headlines in the news every single week or every single month. So our solution for this is collision avoidance in 3D. Our 3D sensor is placed on trams and buses, which uses the advanced driver assistance system and supports the driver with the time of flight technology. So as mentioned, we do the 3D detection of moving objects next to the tram, next to the bus. And if there's a collision that's predicted, then we do an emergency stop. All of this is based on calculation and not on probability, like in AI. It's because our technology actually maps the 3D environment, and when there's an object that's detected, that object is there 100% in the environment. Another advantage of the system is that the illumination of the scene is not required. So the system works very well at night as well, or well, in very bad lighting environment. Other solutions are, for example, for public safety in vehicles or at stations or maybe at traffic hotspots, where we could, for example, detect dangerous behavior using AI in this case, and take action if something like that is detected. Another solution would be to place our sensor on the bottom or on the train, which would then perform permanent inline quality control of rails and do predictive maintenance. Well, the last solution, or one more solution we have, which is actually very, very relevant now in the pandemic, is that of traffic control according to customer demand. Our sensors would detect very accurately how many people are at stations or in trains, and then regulate the frequency of the trains or of the public transport according to those measurements, which means social distancing would be easier to manage, and or for example, the passengers would be told that the next train is coming in 1 minute. Don't take the first one, take the second one, and the next one will be empty. So in that way, we could avoid crowded trains and crowded public transport. Well, now I would like to explain a little bit how our sensor works and what it sees in the world. Well, this is actually a real picture from the sensor. You can see there are point clouds in the environment, which actually include depth information about the environment. And we use these measurements, these point clouds, in order to build a 3D map of the environment, which is then used for all of the solutions mentioned above. Some technical details about the sensor. It's called 4D MMS. 4D stands for 3 dimensions with time information. And it's based on the time of flight technology, which means infrared pulses are sent from the camera or from the sensor. and which are then reflected on the environment, come back to the camera, and from this time information, time of the flight of the race, we calculate how deep in the environment is that point of the depth information. The sampling rate of the camera is 30 frames per second. The field of view is 90 degrees, and the light band is between 920 to 970 nanometers, which is the infrared range. And a little bit on the software side. So for moving sensors, as mentioned on vehicles, maybe robots, trains, anything, we use a technique called simultaneous localization and mapping, which estimates the position of the sensor or of the vehicle and the environment at the same time. And we do these estimations in real time on our GPU accelerated hardware. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. Spasiba. And that's it.
Thank you, Ferdinand, for your presentation. And please, Andrei, I see that you want to ask your question.
Yeah, Ferdinand, thank you so much for your presentation. It's very interesting.
I'm Stanislav, I'm doing the
Oh,
presentation.
sorry, I just missed that moment. Thank you for the presentation anyway, and I'm familiar with the high definition mapping technologies and with the LiDAR-based, camera-based approaches. And so first of all, I'm interested, are you more experienced in delivering the hardware solution, the 4D MMS as a hardware, or you mostly operate with the software? You are, as a team, PTX is good at SLAM technologies and so on. What's your main competence?
Yes, the main focus is the software, as you mentioned, exactly. We don't make our own chips or our own sensors. We just create software for the sensors, which is perfect for the situation, basically, or perfect for the use case.
Okay, thank you. Have you heard about the Digital Angel project by Continental? It was presented at the ITS World Congress recently. It's a multi-sensorial system, including the smartphone data from the GPS, including the ADAS systems and so on. I think it can be helpful in this kind of project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I haven't heard about it, but yeah, it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I can just drop me an email. I'll send you the link. It's like another solution of pretty similar problem to increase safety. That's what every department of transportation in the world thinks about day to day. Yeah, I think maybe cooperation can be done in that way. So I would be happy to discuss it in person. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ferdinand, again. Our next participant, startup Starts, was honored with the Deep Tech Award 2021 by the Berlin Senate. And the company provides solution which helps to manage the issue with IT vendor integration for smart city, and Alexandra Mikityuk will give us more details on it. So Alexandra, welcome. The stage is yours.
Hi, thank you, Katja, for presentation. Let me share the screen. I hope you can see this.
Yes, just loading.
Perfect. All right. So thank you for the invitation. We are a Berlin-based startup, and I actually come from St. Petersburg. I lived for 20 years already in Germany, in Berlin. So happy to connect back to the roots and see what is possible and how it's possible to collaborate with you guys in Moscow. So we provide future-proof infrastructure for smart cities, and we actually come from Deutsche Telekom, we have developed the platform within their R&D department over the last 3 years, and now we operate independently on the market and entering the market. So really inspired and interested what is happening in Moscow, and let me show you what we're doing. Let me first cover the problem that we learned while working with our partners, but also, of course, being a part of Deutsche Telekom and having this luck or opportunity to talk to their customers and to their partners. And so the problem what we've seen today is that through a very prominent presence of major platforms and the corresponding vendor lock-ins and the system fragmentation behind, it actually makes IoT integration extremely complex. So as you can see on this little architecture on the right side, if we talk about smart city landscapes and also talking about mobility systems, we already have lots of devices on itself that are fragmented. And then when we start, putting this whole things together, actually we end up with like this super complex variety of different backends. And even if, 2 or 3 partners have the same backend, saying, they all use Azure or any other cloud provider, then they, might have different management tools. This is really complicated. And I think this is the problem that lots of cities are experiencing, that it really slows the development of smart cities. And actually, we decided to look into the infrastructure. How can we rebuild it and provide companies the solutions, the modern solutions and innovative solutions of how this all can be stacked together? That's why our name Stacks. So what we learned so far working and deploying our systems, right now we work in the south of Germany. Cities and service providers that are providing the solutions, they are dragged into this long and inefficient process of integrations, and basically they lose time to market, and lots of interesting services actually never has seen the light of the market due to this problem. It's really complicated because cities would implement vendors separately, and all of them have different IT systems, and basically this all leads to losing the control, and of course money, a very important component, being lost in all this, I would say, zoo of the integrations of different vendors. So what we provide a fully standardized system that saves the time. So we provide very standardized plug and play system, how to immediately onboard different vendors. And I'm not only talking about the backends, but also about the machines of the vendors. So right now we're integrating the interfaces or like kind of the e-charging station into the bigger smart city solutions in the south of Germany. We also save the headache because the actual existing systems can stay as they are. So we connect on the networking level between different systems across companies. And we also save money because it's very automated and simple processes that eliminates the need for longer integrational projects that at least in Germany can last for even more than 10 years. So how do we do this? We started in 2017, and it was the rise of blockchain and distributed technologies in Berlin. So we took it and we decided, let's address the problem that has been created in a central internet, completely different in a completely different way. Because right now we have all this power of distributed technologies. And so we have created a platform, which is not a platform in itself, it's a stack. It's basically, one library, and this library can be installed on bus station terminals. It can be installed on any terminal. It can be also connected to the cloud instances, or it can be also installed on a server machine. So basically we work with anything which is Linux-based today. Those agents, as they are, of course, of the same nature, provided by Stacks, they connect into very easy to access, but still, of course, secure peer-to-peer network. And we call this instance a swarm cloud. So now all the partners and machines get kind of, connected into this abstracted entity. And there, a city has ability to enroll software deployments, software updates, manage devices, control them with a completely new paradigm, because there is no central point of control. All the partners get the same results, and we solve this problem through a blockchain protocol behind that makes sure that all the partners have the same data on their end. So how do we interconnect the companies? So if you can see with the red lines, this how the integration would go, like one-on-one integrations in the past. And this is on the left side how we enable it today. You just enroll our nodes on the infrastructure of different vendors, but also on their machines if they supply, like for instance, some terminals to the smart city solution or mobility solution. And we interconnect them all into one network. Within our network, we have different strategies how to, I would say, bypass securely the firewalls. So we really enable very simple network configurations. Like for instance, in one of our projects, one of our customers, they have over 120 network segments. And this is kind of the complexity that we take away, and they can just, use the Swarm Cloud and operate within Swarm Cloud. And we take the whole burden of configuration away. So let us take a look at the kind of first projects that we are doing. We are working a lot with service integrators. We do not work directly with cities today. So the first project, we're building unified cross-vendor data dashboard, where citizens in the south of Germany has the ability to see all the free charging stations directly on the Google Map or Here Map. And the complexity behind is super huge, because different vendors must be connected and all the data to gather all the data. And that's what we're doing today with Stacks. We also did some proof of concepts in the past where we would provide like highly resilient and secure management solutions for smart cameras. Also cross-vendor or multi-party system solution for, it was actually in Seoul with the biggest consumer electronics provider based out of South Korea. And also we've been running a pilot when we were part of Deutsche Telekom. We were providing the first blockchain scooter platform where we connected different vendors of e-scooters, so that the users were able to, just with one registration to get access to all the platforms, all the e-scooters from different providers within the city. So covering shortly the value, we enable one-day integration with the new vendor, where we take care of different infrastructures and networking behind. We provide very resilient and secure platform, which is blockchain based and also blockchain ready, because through the distributed structure, you have the ability to connect any blockchain protocol that you want to the platform. We provide integration hub for multi-vendor IT services, where you have this more standardized plug and play ability to connect, different machines provided by different vendors. And of course, full data ownership, because mostly this infrastructure actually runs on your direct terminals or within your cloud. Because this is what we learned, it's becoming more and more important for vendors and for smart cities, that not all the data actually goes to cloud providers. This is it from the pitch side. I would love to share a video with you. Just give me a second. I hope you can see this.
For decades, the world has been rapidly changing and digitized. Billions of devices are spread globally, working tirelessly to make our lives better. But the complex infrastructure that operates those devices is turning into a collection of heterogeneous IT landscapes. The majority of those IT landscapes are centrally managed and thus isolated from each other. This resulted in connection hurdles, inefficient resource planning, and inflexible IT systems which are vulnerable to attacks and outages. And the inefficiencies don't stop here. When talking about mismanaged IT infrastructure, we need to also consider that most of these systems are environmentally unsustainable. Idle hardware accounts for a large fraction of a machine's total energy usage, thereby increasing its carbon footprint without producing any real value. This had us ask one question: how can we rebuild our current IT infrastructure for the future of IoT and distributed systems in order to utilize the full computational power of every machine? Our answer is STEX. STEX handles fully distributed machine orchestration that allows you to get the most out of your machines and your IT infrastructure while enabling you to securely share data with other companies and create new interconnected business models. STEX Swarm Clouds is a fusion of cloud and physical devices that provide the easiest, most efficient and secure solution to build interconnected infrastructure for company backends, IoT devices, and DevOps. Enter the era of zero-waste data economy with STEX.
All right, that's it from my side.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. I have maybe more a remark more than a question. Since you mentioned telecom, I know that one of telecom subsidiaries, Deutsche Telekom IT Services, is presented is in St. Petersburg. So maybe it would be some way for your company, also to enter Russian market via, you probably, I'm pretty sure that you've already heard about it because they have a pretty big R&D and many Russian developers working.
We actually partner with them as STEX, and also part of our team is located in St. Petersburg today.
I see.
Yeah. We have a strong connection to there.
I see. So the second question is comes from Andrei.
Okay.
Yeah, Alexandra, thank you for your presentation. Hope that the idea of looking back to the roots will worth it, absolutely. And actually, we faced the problem of integration, a lot of different vendors when we developed our Moscow Transport Mobility app, because here you can find the data about all the cars of any car sharing company, all the scooters of micromobility, so on. And I've just missed one thing about the process of adding a new vendor, for example. How does it work? Do you need to, as I've heard, as I understood, you need to install a special firmware to the hardware device, or how does it work?
Exactly. So there is a library that can be either installed as a container or a system service. And then basically it happens in an automated way. As soon as the device is somewhat connected, it can be over internet to the, it has the internet connection. It will connect to the Swarm Cloud in an automated way. So that you immediately, while it boots up, have the access to the device itself, and we do not differentiate whether it's a device or it's a virtual machine within a cloud. So it gets abstracted for you, and you just can manage the infrastructure over interfaces, right? So we don't have a vendor lock-in, so you can also connect to further systems through our system. The customers call it a glue. It's mostly like REST API based thing. So that's the procedure.
So in most cases, you don't need any contact with a vendor or provider, or you need like
we do
an engineering codes or something like that from their side. The first question, and if you need one, how many time does it take to add, I don't know, any new CCTV camera, for example? And one more question also connected with that about the security, because a lot of IoT devices, especially in the transport, they have a critical for the safety, and it's not easy process of certification and so on, and then some new even software part, even a library. You need to make the overall process of certification, make an audit of the software again. So how do we work with that?
Exactly. So the first question, we either partner with the device manufacturer directly so that they give us the access to their firmware, and we provide solely software-based solution. So we have some, possible partnerships where we can put, because in our context, it's a blockchain-based platform. Every device is a wallet. So you have the ability to also partner with the vendors to bring the keys directly to the silicon, right? So it depends on the level of security we want to introduce to the system, and that's why also the level of interaction with the vendor. We can be as kind of, going deeper to the vendor infrastructure as we want to make it more secure, but also we can, bring our partners, for instance. With regard to certification, how we do it today, we partner with service integrators, and because we're a startup, we bring them, as also Katya mentioned, like somebody in St. Petersburg, and they would help us to go through the kind of formal process. However, from the security perspective, as we use, everything is standard, so we do not have any self-developed, cryptography. We use standardized encryptions. The new part is only the kind of blockchain and distribution, however, which is also based on the building blocks that are hashing, encryption, salting, etc., which is standard. So we do not have any self-made stuff that will not pass the certification.
Okay, great. Thank you for such a detailed answer.
Sure. Well,
thank you very much. Thank you, Alexandra. So we're closing our pitching session with a representation of Hamburg-based startup Natix GmbH, presented by Steven Lassitis, which will show us how the cameras with IE could manage solve different issue in the bigger cities. And thank you, Stephen, for being so patient. I know that you're the last one in the row, and it's pretty late here already in Berlin. It's even more later in Moscow, 2 hours later, but you know it already because you also have Russia experience and even can speak Russian. So the stage is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Thank you very much. But I will stick to English. Obviously, we have some non-Russian speakers. Но все-таки большое спасибо за возможность вам представить наш продукт.
Спасибо вам.
Да. Вот. So I will share my screen. So
we already can see it.
You can see it. That's great. Let me get in the present mode. Okay. So we at Natix, we're making cameras smart and GDPR compliant. And this is one thing I missed somehow today because DSGVO in Germany, or GDPR compliancy in general, is a huge theme in Europe and worldwide. And we solve this by going the other way. We have no data in the cloud, no cloud at all. We focus on edge computing. So we're making cameras, we're turning cameras into multi-purpose sensors, and the processing is taking place at the edge infrastructure. And how we do it, I'm going to show you right now. Very easy. We use existing cameras of your choice, existing CCTV systems. We put a off-the-shelf hardware for whom it is interesting. This is we use Nuke from Intel. Yeah, deploy our software on these nukes. Actually, our AI will be soon worldwide patented. It's pending. Will be in the next, I think, 2 months. We will have the patent worldwide. The cameras detecting events and send out notifications. But before this, the whole event will be anonymized and processed at the camera. So no data is leaving this small edge infrastructure, no cloud solution, nothing. The time in the buffer is less than 1 second, and we are working very closely with data protection officers of our clients and also with the union, which is actually a very strong and powerful partner in Germany to make these GDPR compliant. And then this notification goes out via SMS or email to any existing system of yours via API or to our dashboard, which is very easy to use, and I can later on come back to this. Our vision is not to sell hardware, but we see us as a technology provider. We want to create an ecosystem where via our SDK, everyone can, with like less than 50 strokes of code, elaborate their own new AI. And the funny thing is, we do it with one camera. So variant and several use cases detected by one camera. Everything anonymized at the camera, and so regarding the high standards of GDPR in Germany and in Holland, for example. Yeah. What makes us unique is not only our outstanding AI, but also the features we thought we should focus on. For example, camera health. Very often it happens that cameras are tampered by perpetrators or by the wind or by animals. So even this is detected by our AI and gives out a trigger notification to the help desk where it's all monitored. What can we do? We detect objects. This is, of course, an ongoing process. We now detect 22 objects with an accuracy of 99.5%. So these are bicycles, men. I'm always telling, like, we can realize, we can detect if it's a man walking, if it's a bear on its path walking, or is it a man dressed as a bear. So our software is really very high in accuracy. We do static zoning. So we put zones among your mission critical areas and detect events. For example, there are the railways. Passengers or pedestrians, simple pedestrians, fall onto the railways. In the same moment, there is a notification to the help desk or to the let's say fast reaction team, yeah, to bring these pedestrians or these passengers out of the danger zone. But everything GDPR compliant, everything anonymized. Yeah, we do object tracking, we do object trajectory, we localize the events via GPS and show them on cards, and of course we do dynamic zoning. Imagine, for example, the metro, the metro coaches, they are moving. We can put dynamic zones among these metro coaches, and we detect if passengers come close after the signal not to enter the coach anymore. So the use cases are really endless. Here, sorry, I give you a little bit. We started last year in January. So our first product was very opportune to the Corona-19 situation of virtual doorman. It's very simple. He counts people coming in to magazines, to official buildings, detects if they're wearing a mask or not. If not, there is a trigger again, a LCD or a light shows up like, please put your mask on, or the door simply doesn't open. Yeah. The next, parking spot monitoring. A little bit similar to what my dear colleague said before, but we do it another way. We do it via cameras. So we can detect with one camera up to 60 parking spots, and we can detect if there are free parking spots, if there is falsely parking, if there is wrongdoing, but also everything anonymized. So we anonymize the plates. So the GDPR compliance is in place. Another very interesting project we do with the city of The Hague, Den Haag, The Hague in Holland. They have an amusement street, it's called Schevelingen. And there, in the evening, people gather together. And as you know, if people gather together, that leads to intimidation, to harassment, to brawls. And we work very closely with the security organs of the town of The Hague. And we inform them in the form of a heat map. So everything anonymized again, but we see brawls and fighting before they even occur. And last but not least, this is our most popular product. It's a zone security monitoring. As I said before, you put zones around your mission critical areas. You see E.ON. E.ON is Germany's biggest energy provider. What problem is he facing? They have substations and they are all sometimes in the woods, sometimes on fields, and perpetrators break into the substations and steal copper wires. This is not a big deal. It's a few thousand euros, no big deal, but they learned how to shut down the substations, causing blackouts, which can then cause damage of like 100,000 euros a minute. You see a little example. We put in our office a zone among our printer. So every time one of our co-workers goes to the printer, a notification is sent out, again, per email, per SMS, whatsoever. Here is, yeah, I can shortly go over this. This is the recognition system we used with our virtual doorman, but again, everything always anonymized, no cloud. We are not interested in storing any data. It's all with the client, if wished, but on the other hand, it will be deleted after 1 day. Parking spot, yeah, you see a little example of our dashboard there. So very easy, yeah, it's very simple. We know that all these reaction team stations where they are situated, where they're overviewing and surveying all these critical areas, they are always overworked. So we didn't want to add another very difficult system to this. It's very simple, very, very easy. Yeah, here you see crowd density. Actually, the trend is even not by blurring them out, but by totally blacking them out, because even on the figure of the pedestrian, you could somehow follow to the personality, to their private data. So the trend is really going on only like black pictures of them, and even with no form around. So yeah, a simple like a conclusion. Very important maybe to say that we reduce false alarms up to 90%, which is also a very high economic factor. Yeah. You can see everything on one dashboard. Camera health, I mentioned already before, is very important to us. And you already noticed we put a lot of emphasis on GDPR compliancy. Yeah, because we noticed this is our kind of USP, especially in Germany and in Europe. I don't know about the regulations in Moscow, but more or less the right to privacy is for us a human right and should not be compelled. Yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for your presentation. And since you mentioned GDPR, which is of course a really big issue and every sensitive area, also in your area, my question is, do you have experiences with rolling out of pilot projects in GDPR, let's call it free countries, or less GDPR countries, maybe somewhere in Asia? That would be my question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm trying to end my sharing. No, actually, we have not yet. Right now, actually, today I had a very interesting meeting with military intelligence from Israel, so we will start there with Israel. Yeah, but no, we don't have experience with less GDPR aware countries. But to ask the question, why should we, right? Because this is our USP, yeah, which makes us really unique compared to the others. So we will focus really on GDPR aware countries. But of course, this GDPR compliancy can also be switched off, right? So this is also on customers' demand.
Thank you. And there should be also a second question from Andre.
Yeah, please, Andre.
Okay, Steven, thank you for your pitch. I have to admit that I'm a big fan of your presentation design. It's brilliant, minimalistic. It's absolutely awesome. And
thank you.
I don't have a question, actually. I can say that Moscow definitely one of the world leaders in terms of using computer vision based software in all the structure of a smart city. And from the one side, it's really a big market for any solutions. We have our own big network of road cameras, for example, monitoring the speed and a lot of other data. From the one side, it's really interesting to work here. But from the second side, of course, it's a very competitive landscape. We have a lot of our internal high-skilled teams working with the computer vision. So it's like two sides. Just a comment from my side, but we would be very happy to have your solution as well and try to understand what you can do much better than any other teams.
Yeah. Thank you. I would like to add really, as I told you before, our AI and the orchestrating software behind this, it's very soon to be patented. Yes, worldwide, not Europe, not Germany, but worldwide. So I'm pretty sure, and the direct comparison with our competitors in Germany shows that a lot of companies out there promise anonymization, okay? And then we hear from the from the unions, we hear like, they promise this, but the data is like 10 seconds or 15 seconds in any buffer, yeah, which already they don't agree already with that, right? So, and so that's why we're eager to do a pilot to show what we can do.
Okay. Great. So that was our last pitch, and it's time to finalize our mobility evening, as we can call it now. And just a couple of words from my side. It was a great pleasure listening all of your pitches, guys. It was really awesome, interesting projects, interesting tech details, interesting products. I'm like with my very big own passion to all the innovations related to the sector of mobility, starting from electricity, finishing the self-driving and advanced artificial intelligence and blockchain-based models. So thank you very much for making this evening real. And regarding the next steps, if you by occasion haven't to this moment applied for our program, we are waiting for applications. You have time until the Sunday evening. This week we are closing the application process. And some words about the next steps. We will form, after our screening and scoring process inside our innovation team of Moscow Transport Innovations, we will make working groups and make more detailed look in terms of trying to configure the pilot projects for the solution selected for the next step. So thank you so much, and I will give my word to Ekaterina.
Thank you again, and I would like to admit that I was really also very impressed by the variety of ideas and solutions that have been presented by you guys. Thank you very much. And we've missed a welcome word at the beginning because of some technical problems. So I just would like to mention that I'm representing as already mentioned, the Russian Chamber of Trade and Commerce. And we also have a so-called Expertenkreis, so expert circle within this, our representation. So if you want to connect with Russian or German very experienced experts in several fields, as well as engineering and railways and IT and so on, you can always contact us. We are organizing business digitalization and online events and help with mediation. And the chamber includes around 180 regional chambers in Russia. And we are working, our representation office is based in Berlin. And so I'm still coordinating all external issues for this first international open call, and will be your contact person for the next weeks. Thank you very much again. And that will be all from my side. And let's meet in the next application round. And I hope that your pilot project will be rolled out successfully in the infrastructure of Moscow transportation. Thank you very much.